Hi everybody, welcome to some bonus videos. I just want to go over a little bit of garden design to show you what things look like when they're already finished or when most of the plants are grown. This is a photo I took a couple years ago of my garden. It's just a little snippet. You'll see the Baptisia is right here. Now the Baptisia, it blooms early in the season, so this is really something that blooms like in May. And then when it's finished, it has these cool little pods, and these pods turn a dark purple in the fall. So you have this blue-green foliage that looks just tropical, really pretty foliage on Baptisia. And then you get these cool pods that are like this deep purple color, and they just look awesome. Baptisia gets probably 4 feet by maybe 4 or 5 feet. It does get pretty wide if it's out in the open and it doesn't have a lot of competition and it has plenty of sun. They also do really well in dry sites, which is really weird because this foliage just looks so healthy and blue and tropical, but it actually does pretty well in sites that are dry. I've never had to water this. In the background, we'll go from left to right. So these yellow flowers here are Coreopsis lanceolata. That is a really impressive, beautiful Coreopsis that's very robust. I actually did remove this Coreopsis from my garden because it started to take over. Right here you see it as a cute little cluster of flowers here and a cute little cluster of flowers there. The next year, it was probably like 6 times the size. There were 6 times as many flowers, which meant that the garden looked amazing because it had these giant yellow flowers everywhere, but they took over. They really did, and they were starting to crowd out some of my other plants, so I just started removing them. Now you can see here behind the bird bath, this is Liatris. These are some corms that I got from Costco. They're basically the same thing as the cultivar Cobalt. These Liatris corms, they look great when planted in a mass. Now what I did here is it looks like they're in a line, a straight line. They're actually in kind of like a crescent around the bird bath like this. So I just wanted them to kind of surround the bird bath so that the birds had a little bit of privacy. I think the birds feel very safe when they have a little bit of shelter when they're out in the open. I don't think they like being in the bird bath out in the open because we do have a lot of hawks and eagles and other kinds of predators. So I just wanted to make a nice little safe space around for them, and it's been a few years and they're still going strong. Behind the Liatris, you're going to see this, which is really the star of the show. This is New Jersey tea. Wow, what a beautiful shrub New Jersey tea is. It is a little bit difficult because rabbits really love it. So it's really loved by rabbits and deer. It's just one of those plants that has a lot of nutrients that they really love. You can't see it underneath here, but I do have a cage around the New Jersey tea, and it's hidden, which is really nice. So I have a cage around the bottom. Last year, half of my New Jersey tea looked dead on one side and the other side was flowering. So I really don't know what the deal is with this shrub. It's one of those things like when it looks good, it looks great, and then some years it doesn't look good. So I don't always recommend it for people if they want a consistent shrub for their garden. But if you're willing to roll the dice, I mean, look at this shrub. It's really, really pretty. Here you can see I've got a little cage, and that's because I have a sassafras tree in there, and you can almost see a little bit of the foliage right there from its little sassafras mitt. This tree is a little bit bigger this year. In the background you'll see this is mostly Echinacea pallida, the pink flowers. That is not Echinacea purpurea, so it's pale purple coneflower, not purple coneflower, and this is my full sun dry garden out here, and so I have lots of things that do well in the full sun dry areas. You can see the grass in the background here. This grass is all brown because we were in a serious drought. But look at my garden that I did not water the entire year. The garden looks amazing. The grass looks like trash, honestly. So this is just what it's like when you don't feel like watering all of your grass. I don't think that's a really good use of water personally, and so we kind of let the grass go dormant during the season even when it's a little bit dry. To the right here we have a purple coneflower. Now it's not flowering yet, and you can see how tall it is. There is a tree that's behind these, so it's possible it got a little bit of shade and it's growing really tall. The coneflower is like 4 feet tall. Sometimes they just grow tall. I don't know why. The native purple coneflower just really has a lot of genetic variation, and if it's in an area where it's happy and it doesn't have a ton of competition, it will grow pretty tall. So these looked beautiful. Pale purple coneflower does bloom earlier, so it's kind of nice to have both pale purple coneflower and purple coneflower because this one will bloom first, and then when this one kind of turns, then the other ones will pick up the slack and start blooming. So you always have something blooming for your pollinators. You always have something beautiful to look at. I don't see anything else that I can identify in this picture, so I just wanted to kind of show you an example of how these plants can work together. Okay, let's check out another garden. This is one of my favorite gardens, and this is actually the second year, and I'm just going to tell you what all the plants are in this planting and just show you how they work together. This in the foreground right here is actually a native hibiscus. This is a Hibiscus moschutos, which is in the part of the garden that is a rain garden. So this is kind of where the rain garden sort of ends and then the normal garden just begins. Behind this, there are a lot of wetland plants because there is a very wet area behind this. Hibiscus moschutos can tolerate being inundated and flooded for weeks. I mean, it's a crazy tough plant. We grow it right in the river rocks, like on the river. Like it's, sometimes the river is 3 feet higher and sometimes it's low, and this plant just does really well. And then here we have a Northwind panicum. I love this grass. This is really my favorite. It stands up straight. It's got this beautiful blue color. It is a native species, even though it's a cultivar. It's a cultivar basically to prevent it from being too aggressive and also to have a nice upright habit so that it's not sprawling everywhere. These just work really great. There's another one over here. And a third one right there. I think we have probably 5 in this whole garden. So I love these. You can see how the hibiscus looks great against the grass because the grass has a different texture, and when the hibiscus blooms, the pink color is the same color as these snapdragons back here. I mean, the hibiscus is amazing looking. We did put snapdragons all along the edge here of the garden, and you can see them over there and over here. These are snapdragons I just got from Menards, like in the little cells. They were very inexpensive, and they did bloom the second year, even though they were kind of not the same the second year. This right here you'll see is part of our vegetable garden. This is potatoes. So, and you can kind of see the little potato flowers. Are there tomatoes in here too? I think that's possible. We've got potatoes and tomatoes in this raised bed here. I don't really like to grow vegetables with the native plants because they just need different things and they kind of need to be on their own. And so this actually looks pretty cool. It's up here in the raised bed. So we also have this Asclepias incarnata, or swamp milkweed. Now this swamp milkweed, this isn't normally how you'll see it, but I planted a whole bunch of seedlings here really close together because I had extra and I didn't know where to put them, and they grew into like this big round bush of Asclepias incarnata. It looked beautiful. We had so many butterflies. This was a year that we had a ton of monarch butterflies and we had a lot of milkweed for them, so nobody was hungry that year. This right here is Monarda didyma. This is the red bee balm or scarlet bee balm. You can see it's just beginning to bloom. So this is probably, I'm gonna say maybe it's July if the incarnata is blooming already, and then this is blooming after it. So this is about 5 plants, and the following year they really grew out and they tried to grow into the lawn because the Monarda didyma is so aggressive. It's not terribly aggressive. It's very easy to manage and pull out, but it does spread by rhizomes, and if you don't manage it, it will just get really, really big, and we like that. So we let it get really big. Here is some Coreopsis right there. That's a Coreopsis lanceolata. This is kind of the curve of the garden bed right here, and you can see we've got some yellow nutsedge that's growing into the garden right here. So everyone hates yellow nutsedge, and we struggle with it because we don't want to spray a lot of chemicals on this native planting here, but we want to get rid of the nutsedge, so we did pull it out and it just grew back. So this is just kind of a thing that we have to deal with. Right here, Anis hyssop, Agastache funiculum. This hyssop grew pretty tall and it's kind of reaching a little bit. I think that it didn't have a lot of competition, and it got 5 feet tall. It's still standing up straight, looks pretty good. I think probably without something on this side though, I think that this is gonna kind of fall over and flop open. So I might have needed to stake that or put some kind of fencing right there to just kind of keep it upright. What else? We just have have another snapdragon way in the back here. And that's how we put this planting together. Oh, don't forget the unsung hero, the Sporobolus down there. These guys in the front, they are the warriors. We need to plant some over here so that we can get rid of some of this nutsedge. If you've got some great photos of your native plant garden and want to inspire others to plant native plants, send a photo to infolikesplants@gmail.com and let us know we have permission to use your photo. See you next time.